Now that we're alone, I have a confession to make. The Myford is in need of a little repair. This is the first video especially for you guys, my Patreon supporters. A little extra content to say thanks. As I record this, there is only one, so Rasmus, this video is all for you, mate. The problem is that the thread that this screw goes through has stripped. I noticed that the lathe was rattling a little too much, which can mean that the belt needs tightening. And upon checking the tension, I could feel the screw wasn't quite right. I haven't touched it again, it's just holding on for now. I'm assuming it's the thread on the casting side that's stripped. We're going to make a steel insert to replace the stripped thread. I have plenty of 25mm free cutting steel. We're turning that down to 8.5mm, so it'll take a while. With this steel, the Myford can easily cope with a 20 thou cut. A-bomb would be proud. .5mm. Prior to the Enlightenment, that was about 334 thousandths of an inch. So we're just a couple over. Perfect. I'd like to be about 2 thou over for a good tight fit. Parting off 25mm steel is a little too nerve-wracking for my setup, so I'll hacksaw my way through it by hand. This is a number 6 drill bit. We'll be cutting a 1/4 inch BSF thread. If the tap had a centre hole in the end, it'd be easiest to do this mounted in the lathe. But just holding it in the vise will work fine too. The soft jaws were driving me nuts. A few teeth marks won't hurt. One turn round and half a turn back. That's what I was taught, and that's what I've always done. I find hand tapping really satisfying. Sadly for me, the insert can't be installed without partly dismantling the machine. This is the busted thread, and you can see it doesn't come out quite right. This curly swarf is a thread from the casting, completely stripped. For some reason, I can't thread the insert onto the screw. Lucky I tested it first. My assumption is that I've cut the wrong thread. It does get a bit confusing on British machines of this era. It took me a while to figure out what was going on. The tap seems to match up with the screw thread, and the pitch gauge confirms 26 TPI, but neither fit perfectly. I realised that what had happened is that the lock nut has been over-tightened and the screw has actually stretched in one spot. This will be why the thread in the casting was stripped. When I reassembled this piece originally, the thread just felt a little tight, but in actual fact, the stretched thread of the screw would have been damaging the aluminium thread on its way through. Lucky I have another lathe to rob parts from. I decided to replace both the ML7 screws with screws from the Super 7. I'll have to make new ones down the line, but this solves the problem for now. So now it's time to drill away the stripped thread to make way for our insert. This is an 8.5mm drill bit. My battery drill struggled with the soft material. No problem though for my crappy old Black & Decker electric drill. I decided not to bother with any sort of mechanical fixing for the insert. I'm just relying on Loctite. We have a good interference fit, and this is the high strength stuff, so it should be fine. And that's the repair complete. Now it's just a case of putting it all back together. Since I had the lathe apart, I took the opportunity to replace the rubber V-belt with a Fenner power twist belt. These are supposed to run smoother. I'll let you know how it works out. Oh, and this dirty looking pulley is one that was sent to me by a viewer. Thanks, David. It runs a lot straighter than the one I repaired way back in Myford Part 2. Guys, thanks a lot for watching, and thank you very much for the support.